Irish Permanent increases its mortgage rate as turbulence continues on the exchange markets. Ryanair's stock market flotation could value the company at more than £300 million. And the European Commission warns that abolishing water charges may contravene EU policy. Good evening, welcome to 6-1. Also on the programme this evening, the Cabinet has agreed a new offer for victims of the hepatitis C scandal.
In Kinshasa, anxious residents seek news of events as rebel forces prepare to take the capital. And snooker's new world champion Ken Doherty savours his victory and a bright new future.
First, though, the country's biggest building society, the Irish Permanent, has this evening increased its mortgage rate by 0.5% after a further day of turbulence on foreign exchange markets. Other banks and building societies are expected to increase their rates in the days ahead, adding more than £200 to the annual cost of an average £60,000 mortgage. The Irish pound was today again under pressure on the currency markets. The reason this time was a rise in the value of sterling, caused by an increase in British interest rates. Only intervention by the central bank in Dublin ensured that wholesale Irish rates remained stable and that the risk of an even bigger increase in bank and mortgage rates here was averted.
Britain's new Chancellor Gordon Brown surprised financial markets this morning when, after a breakfast meeting with Bank of England Governor Eddie George, he sanctioned a quarter-point increase in Britain's base interest rates. He also announced sweeping changes at the Bank of England designed to give the bank independent control over the future setting of interest rates in the UK.
Will not shrink from the tough decisions needed to deliver stability for long-term growth. I have therefore decided to give the Bank of England operational responsibility for setting interest rates with immediate effect. The government will continue to set the inflation target.
Financial markets signalled their approval of these changes by driving the value of sterling up by 3 pfennigs against the German Deutschmark. However, this caused some consternation in Irish financial markets because the British pound was initially driven up in value along with sterling against the German Deutschmark. Subsequently, the Irish pound eased back in value after the central bank here moved to ensure that Irish wholesale interest rates remained low.
Well, at the present time, the wholesale market is still standing at 6.25% in the 1 month, and that is enough to trigger at least a 0.5% increase in retail rates in the near term. However, with the Irish pound now standing at about 2.60 against the Deutschmark, there is scope there for further pressure on that rate in the weeks ahead, and that could bring further uncertainty to the interest rate market. So I think we are likely to see a minimum of a 0.5%, with the risk of more to come if further pressure emerges on the Irish pound.
This evening, Irish Permanent plc, which has 21% of the Irish mortgage market and 93,000 mortgage customers, announced it was raising its variable interest rate by a full 0.5% to 7.5%. This increase will raise the monthly repayments on a £50,000 mortgage by about £15 per month and will add about £10 per month to the repayments on a £30,000 mortgage. Last Thursday, the central bank raised official interest rates here by 0.5% to 6.75%. But this morning there were reports that they were intervening in the wholesale money markets to keep interest rates at 6.25%. That's 0.5% below where they set them last Thursday. The interpretation being put on this by monetary experts in Dublin is that the central bank doesn't want to see interest rates going any higher. However, as developments in the UK and in the currency markets this morning tell us, there are a lot of determinants over Irish interest rates over which the central bank or monetary officials here have no control.
But ultimately, if we are going to have extreme pressure on interest rates, that seeking a small revaluation of the Irish pound, in other words, establishing a new ERM central rate at slightly over 2.50, could do away with a lot of the pressure there and thus ease the pressure on interest rates.
More jobs are on the way at Shannon following